Hello, everybody. Welcome back to A Certain Point of View, our Schmoedown related podcast here on the channel, where we are discussing everything from the movie trivia Schmoedown. You guessed it, from a certain point of view. I'm your host, Jake Berland, and I am joined today by my two co-hosts. First, we have Mr. Brian Ablicino right there on the right side of the screen. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. And then on the bottom there, right in the center, we have Miss Jill. How you doing?
Hi. I'm hanging. It's a Sunday. Monday.
You weren't on the intro last week, but you're full going for us now. How you liking it?
I love it. I'm like taking notes as I'm watching these matches now. I'm like going in depth. I get to speak my piece, and I love it. It's great.
Yeah, it's been a whole and thank you to everyone who supported last week and got all the love for Jill on Twitter and everything. That was awesome to see for the channel.
Thank you.
A lot of people reached out and everything, which is really cool. Yes, very much. We have a really cool show today, guys. Obviously, last week was a absolutely crazy week in the Schmoedown. Lots of matches to discuss, more in depth on top of some of the reactions and breakdowns that we did, on top of previewing what's coming this week. But before we get to all that, we do have a special guest here with us today. And if you guys have been following us on Twitter, you saw the love she was getting and the likes and the retweets for the tweets. And we were able to get her on tonight's show. And that is Mollie Damon, the Star Wars Round 1 winner so far for the tournament. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
We're good. Very excited to have you on the show today. Lots to talk about, obviously. Before we get to some in-depth questions from us personally, how does it feel to be a Star Wars Division winner?
It feels pretty good. Christian has been trying to get me to play more for years, basically, and I've kind of been wishy-washy about it. And I did the one at Celebration, and I lost, and I was just like, whatever. But now that I've won one, I'm just like, yes, I'm hungry for it.
You got the bug. You got the bug. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So obviously everyone who watched the match knows everything that went down. I think the first thing we just have to ask you is simply about the challenges, because that was the biggest thing that happened in this match.
Oh my gosh.
The first 3 or 4 questions, there were three challenges out there. One of you guys won one of them. How did it feel as a competitor to sit there and just kind of watch all of these challenges go down in the first just midst of the match starting?
It definitely took me off guard. I was pretty
all
chill.
Of us off guard.
I was pretty chill the whole time, but that first one, that was all Sam. Honestly, I wouldn't have challenged that, but now it's okay, if we're going there, we're going there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Brian, you got anything?
I was just gonna say, did that rattle you a little bit, or were you just okay?
I mean, at the time, no, but now preparing for my next match, I'm I have to get everything exactly right. I need to memorize the scripts at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, and we saw it with Scrimshaw's match as well, with the overtime question, right? Luke versus Luke's hatred. Obviously, it eliminated him, and they're asking for as many details as possible with these Star Wars questions, rightfully so, because sometimes you do need that, but it's definitely making everything a little bit harder, especially for studying.
Yeah. And that's the one that Scrimshaw and Demolanta got. I think that one was warranted. I think Scrimshaw knew the answer, but he just didn't flesh it out completely. The 1,000 years versus over 1,000 years, that's a little different, because it's he knows the answer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
That's fair. I totally understand that viewpoint too. I thought Demolante's challenge was completely 100% okay. That's fair, valid though. 1,000 years, over 1,000 years, it's because I think Han does say 1,000 years, but
yeah, was that its 1,000th birthday?
Exactly. So is this exactly 1,000 today? So I mean, I get it, but
yeah,
I was watching it from work, which I couldn't hear anything, but I was just watching it. I just would look and I go, challenge. Is this question 2? And there's a challenge. Okay. 5 minutes go by. What is happening? And I'm texting everybody going, what is going on? I keep seeing all these challenges happening, but I mean, it made for a very interesting view. That's for sure.
Yeah, the shield generator or whatever the actual answer was, energy field or whatever.
Energy shield, yeah.
Yeah, that challenge really threw me off because first of all, neither of us got it exactly right.
which is the best part about it.
Yep,
Adam challenges it, and he ends up both of you guys ended up getting it wrong, which is just like, okay, we just wasted how much time on this match?
Right. And then like I had just watched the 3-way where that question had been asked previously, and everyone had a different answer. I think Scrimshaw even just put the word shields. So like, I looked calm, but I was like in the chat, like, hey, I just watched this match and they just took the word shields, guys.
This is what happened last time. That's interesting. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yep. So
I'm sure. Or go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was like, I'm not going to argue because we've already set the precedent of we have to get things exactly right. But I just like in the back of my mind, I was kind of like, well, Christian was about to take both of those answers.
Yes.
Yeah, very true.
So we both lost points.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jill, it must be funny from your end. Sean obviously competing. He must be looking at this and just kind of losing his mind a little bit.
And it was funny because especially like we said for that challenge, he was going, I think the line is energy shield. And he was like, why is which he's gonna get it wrong too. Like he's losing the points. And we were like going over it. I was like, but if he challenges it, then he gets it wrong, but he keeps his challenge. And so we were going like, it was nuts. It was crazy. But yeah. It was entertaining. I mean,
yes, it was very entertaining. I got and as he rolls over,
my god!
He's obviously a little tired and a little comfortable. I gotta ask. Playing Adam Witt must be an absolute treat because he brings such a different energy to these matches. And something that we didn't even mention off the start, which is what we should have started, is the promo. The promo leading up to the match.
God.
I'm surprised that any of us brought that up, but that must have been really fun to film and then kind of talking to him as well on his end because it flowed so perfectly together how the back and forth was. And obviously the editing plays a huge part in it, but I mean, filming that must have been an absolute treat.
It really was. And a lot of that was his idea. I wanted to put in the stuff like with me and Alex talking between. His
stuff was great. His stuff was so funny.
So good.
Yeah. I was like, you have to be the grumpy Luke in this situation.
Yes. What's awesome is I don't think there's is there a promo award, like best promo?
There needs to be.
I think after this, they're going to have made one because this was beautiful. I loved it. Oh my gosh. So good.
And like both of us are like video makers and editors. And so we kind of knew how we wanted it to look and how to edit it together. So yeah,
it worked perfectly. And we saw the double videoing work first with Sean and Kate in their match with the Clorox bottle. And then it kind of, went on steroids a little bit with you guys and the necklace and everything. And it flowed so perfectly and you guys played it both great. So yeah, and that was even before all this even started and it led up to the match and it worked perfectly. Obviously, leading into the second round and everything. I mean, you must have been feeling pretty comfortable at that point after getting 9 out of the 10 points in the first round.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a close game till the end for me. Cause like with the challenges, I wasn't even paying attention to the actual score. I was just like, I think I'm ahead. But yeah,
that says a lot for your gameplay too, is because the challenges didn't even phase you. Because I would have been like, my mind would have just gone in completely different headspace, but you just you weren't even phased, and it was so amazing to watch.
Yeah, honestly, after those matches, the challenge, the idea of the challenges for every match going forward is going to be different.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? I was just going to say, I think for me, I think you probably opened up against someone that, was probably best suited to go against like a more relaxed person like Witt and kind of, he seems like he's a pretty fun, easygoing type person, whereas DiMolanta looked like he had fire shooting out of his eyes his whole match. So, for you to debut, I think, you got put up against a really good opponent for a debut.
Definitely. And yeah, DiMolanta had some intensity to him for sure. I'm going to see if I can get him to crack a smile. I don't know.
Nice.
Bless
Nice.
you.
Were you able to go back and watch his match afterwards?
Yes. Yeah. And what a match. I mean,
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Both
I
of them. I
told
mean,
you to go into overtime. Told you.
yeah.
Yeah, you did call it. She called it.
It is a bummer it ended that way, but I mean, both of them just showed up in such big ways, and it's also a bummer from the entertaining side of it to have Scrimshaw gone because he's so funny and he works so well in this space. But I mean, Demolanta, he looks scary right now, and it's your next opponent, so you must be feeling a little bit more intimidated at this point after watching that match, at least.
A little bit, yeah. But now, like, I don't know, it's making me study a little smarter now because I'm like, I know I have to get things exactly right, and so I'm definitely taking it more seriously now.
Nice.
So,
Sweet.
I did want to ask. A cool way that the match kind of ended is that Clone Wars question, or not the Clone Wars question, but the Dooku question that you knew from Clone Wars.
yeah.
And Brian and I were talking about it on the side. We both said the same thing, that we didn't hear about it from the movies, but we knew about it from the show.
The show, yeah.
Is it something that kind of clicked right away, or did you kind of have to think about it?
It clicked right away, but it took me a minute to be like, is that the right answer? Is that something I made up? I don't know. And it, like, at the time I said Clone Wars, but when I, like, after everything ended, I was like, you know what? Actually, I remember that from Dooku Jedi Lost.
That's where I
That's what
remember.
Sean said.
It
Sean was
wasn't-
thinking from the book.
That's where I got him.
Because, like, we read and watch all the stuff for the show.
Yeah.
So, like, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's where I remember that from.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Funny way how it ended.
Yeah.
As long as you can pull it, who cares where it came
Right
from?
I
over
know,
my
right?
head. I
Yeah.
had no idea.
Yeah. I feel like I'm really good at the 5-point questions that people get in the Star Wars matches. And it's like the more simple stuff that I get tripped up on.
You had
How that works.
a fart brain like me, like where that Kira, Jake and I do our matches against each other, and I'll miss like the most simplest of questions, and then
Yeah.
I messed up on that one too. I was thinking who killed Beckett. I was confusing Beckett and Dries. And so I was just like,
John
Voss.
Voss,
yeah, John and Voss.
Yeah.
And I was like, isn't it Chewbacca or Han? And she's like, what? It's Kira. And I'm like, oh my god, I was confusing with Woody Harrelson.
Yeah,
Well,
and like
yeah.
I should have used my JTE and like just tried to think a little longer on that, but it just like in my head I kept saying Amelia Clark, and I was like, wait, what is her character name?
Well, I gotta say, speaking on the JTE stuff, and we talked about it, you played the match strategically very well.
Very well.
And Sam had said it when he came in after the first round. You have the lead, play with the lead, and from there on out, you really kind of just like guided your way through as you needed to. I imagine now that you've been able to study with Alex and everything, and kind of for the last year or so breaking things down with him, and now you're kind of getting into your own as a player, knowing the game has become a much more of a priority because it really showed up in the first match.
Yeah, and the first match that I played, I forgot my multiple choice, so I was like, I'll never do that again. And yeah, just like watching all the old matches, it's really sinking in how important that stuff is.
Mm-hmm.
How has it been to have Sam as a manager? Because he seems like such a good, just great manager, being an ex-player too.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Like I don't know what everyone's talking about. I mean, I know they all are about throwing shade and stuff, but they're also like throwing shade at him as a manager.
Jill knows about shade.
No.
He's been great. Yeah, and like going into the last round, him reminding me that Adam has to answer 2 of his questions before I have to answer one. I was like, oh yeah, this is He just like kept me calm the whole time.
That's awesome.
And
How has it been? Or Brian, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, he full on, like, if there was questions about his managing, I think that was questioned because he was like a snake, like just ready to strike anytime he thought something was wrong, challenged, needed to input. And I think that really shows people that were saying, he's wishy-washy, maybe kind of there, but
yeah, I mean, definitely, like, I'm not really the kind of person to like yell out a challenge and like be really upfront about stuff like that. But if anyone is willing to argue to the death with Christian about anything, I think it's Sam.
Gonna be Sam. Love it. It's so
I
good to
think
have a manager too. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Didn't he? I think there was even a point where maybe it was the first question. Was it where he's like, Sam, I see you in the chat. Hold on.
I see you waving your hand.
Well, not just that, but he told Christian that even if you had missed the 5-pointer, that he was going to challenge it anyway, just for the hell of it.
Yeah, because we still had our challenge.
Yeah, he was just going to use it to use it, and I mean, he has the right to, and why not? I mean, it would have made him think about it at least, which is interesting. So,
yeah.
But Jill, I know that you had a question you wanted to ask Mollie, correct?
Yeah, so I want to know, as another female who's kind of just slowly getting into the Star Wars, not league, world as a whole.
Galaxy.
How does it feel being Galaxy? Thank you. How does it feel being a prominent female in this area? Like, because it's dominated by men, obviously.
Yeah.
So how does it feel being such a strong female presence in this community?
It's awesome, honestly. Like, me and Laura talk often, and we're just like they have no idea. Like, we're gonna take him down.
Yes,
we talked about it. We talked about it with Laura.
Yes.
It's something that we want to see. Is that matchup for sure? That'd be awesome.
I said so. Christian posted a poll in the Facebook group, and I said I want a Mollie Damon final. I want Kelly in the final. I want women representing in this final. That would be astounding. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. When Alex played Laura, I was like, honestly, I don't know who to root for here.
Do I want a female champion, or do we want to keep it in the household? What do we want to do?
Yeah. I mean, it's great. And like, it's funny because I am also kind of like in the current champion's shadow. Like, that's something that everyone's like, oh, Mollie has to live up to her husband. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
You're making a name for yourself, though, which is awesome. Like, you're making a name for yourself. So yes, Alex is your husband and he's the champion, but you are making a pathway as Mollie, which is so awesome to beginning to really see now when you're competing. And I can't wait to see what you do next. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Hopefully I don't have any more brain farts.
It's okay. It's okay.
I will say though, since it's been kind of announced that there was the Star Wars tournament in general, the women's names I feel have been mentioned and talked about and way more than any of the men. So I mean, other than Alex, I would say that the women kind of dominate this league more than really any of the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, we're always underestimated about everything, so it's like
it's true.
Very true. I will say, people who are living or have to, who are currently quote living in someone's shadow, typically tend to be the most dangerous. And so that is something going forward for sure. And it's very exciting because the next match could be an absolute just juggernaut of a match between you and Demolanta.
I hope so. I mean, yeah, I've been helping Alex study since he started however many years ago. So it's like when we first started studying for his matches, I would sit and watch the movies with them and take note after note after note. And it's just like, I know what questions they're going to ask.
Like these.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jill knows very well. What that's like.
Oh man, I'll never watch Star Wars the same way again.
Right. Yeah. People ask us sometimes on the channel like how often we watch Star Wars, and I'm like, only when there's a Schmoedown. Yep.
And when there's a Schmoedown, you're watching back to back to back to back, and it's so much. It's so much.
So moving on from Star Wars, just quickly, because I want to ask about Alex. I know that his match is already recorded, but for people like Brian and I, we may not know what's happened. Obviously, speaking a little bit before the match happened, how is he handling the IG stuff as far as studying and watching all that stuff?
He's taking it very seriously. We are not just watching Star Wars movies. We are watching so many movies. Yeah, he's got some good competition ahead of him, but I'm excited to see him take yet another belt, honestly.
Yeah, I mean he's a favorite. He is a favorite.
Do you see yourself entering IG now?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if I keep helping him study for that stuff too. Like I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to know everything about Harry Potter, but I might after.
How do you not want to know everything about Harry Potter? Harry Potter is amazing.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know if I have the capacity to know all that stuff and keep all the Star Wars stuff in my head too.
I get it.
Those are two very hard leagues to compete in because they're so detail oriented and there really are the deep cuts of the deep cuts. Like something like Lord of the Rings.
Ugh,
that's crazy. Like that's absolutely crazy. Some of that stuff. So
did you guys see the Patreon Lord of the Rings match?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's just God.
Like how many overtimes did it go into? Like 20 something?
It was like
21, I think. Yeah.
Oh, was it? I thought it was like 15
I think it was 20,
or 16.
Yeah.
But like I was outside, so I'm in Alex's office right now, and I was like outside, kind of like listening in. And I was like, how many questions are they going through?
Nope. There's no way. There's no way. And it just seeing them just go back and forth with that was. Yeah. How do you retain that knowledge in your head?
Especially Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I would say Alex's Lord of the Rings knowledge is pretty much the same as his Star Wars knowledge, and I don't understand how he just keeps it all in his head.
So let me ask this, and even though it was an exhibition match, did he take that match a little personal when Parker beat him?
No. I think he was just excited to show everyone, like, I know more than just Star Wars.
Yeah, everybody knows now for sure.
He certainly showed everybody that he definitely knows more than just Star Wars. Oh my god.
Yeah, which is very exciting because there's a lot of deep cut Lord of the Rings questions that have been popping up recently in these IG matches, and it's something that can pop up from him. We get the match tomorrow for us who don't know what happens, and we'll be checking that out. So very, very excited to check that out for sure.
Yeah, and he was excited to play Parker because he knew that he would be a really good Lord of the Rings challenge.
All four of them showed up big time. I mean, it's probably one of the better, if not the best, exhibition match to ever be released. So
even the champions one was fun too.
Yeah, and he showed up in that one too with the singles questions, which was really cool to see too.
Yeah, he just has this weird movie knowledge in his head, and I don't movies that he's never seen before. He knows stuff about, and I'm like, what? Oh, that's frustrating.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good job, Alex.
Yeah, he got like a sports question, I think, and they were all laughing that he got it right, and he was like, "Oh, I got a sports question right."
Well, you are showing that with Star Wars for sure. You are showing just as much as knowledge as anybody else out there, and it's very exciting to see you go forward and possibly get to play in that final for the tournament, and then possibly go on. But before we do let you get out of here to get back to your studying, we have a little thing that we've been doing recently with Star Wars competitors. It's called your Star Wars favorites, and we're going to go through some different things as far as lightsaber, book, game, etc. And we just simply want to know what your favorite of that category is. Okay. So the first one, very simple. Your favorite Star Wars movie.
Favorite movie. This kind of changes the more times we watch all the movies, but I've said it before, so I'll stick with it. I'll say Force Awakens because it was the movie to kind of rekindle my love for Star Wars. Definitely.
I like it. Your favorite series?
So like TV series.
TV show.
Oh. Yeah. Buffy. If they ever decided to have a Buffy exhibition match, I would dominate for sure. I've seen that.
We'll keep that in mind. Harloff,
100 times.
Noted.
I know.
What about favorite Star Wars series?
Oh, Star Wars series. a lot of people give us crap for going Rebels over Clone Wars, but
We don't.
yeah,
Not here. Not
Laura
here.
Kelly picked Rebels too.
Not
yeah,
here.
I'll say Rebels.
I like Rebels a lot. I like Rebels a lot.
Rebels is my favorite.
Yeah.
Love Rebels. Your favorite Star Wars game,
If you
Ooh.
play any of them.
if you play.
Yeah, I do, because technically I'm a EA game changer, whatever that means. I'm gonna go Shadows of the Empire though, because that was the first Star Wars game that I remember playing and
Me too.
having it, just like doing the tote cables with the AT-ATs and
Mhm.
classic.
I'll hiatus on the questions real quick. Are you guys excited for the new Star Wars game, the trailer tomorrow?
Oh yeah. We were bummed because
Or today, I guess, when this comes out.
yeah, we were set to go to EA Play, but obviously none of that stuff's happening. So technically EA Play is happening digitally, I guess, or the announcements are going to be rolling out in the next week or so. And yeah, we're very excited to hear more about that game.
Yeah, I'm a ship and car guy, and I'm losing my mind over seeing this game. I'm
too.
losing my mind to see this game for sure.
Nuts.
Yeah, we've heard some things about it, and people are going to lose their minds, I think.
Oh, I mean, the posters alone that they
I want that
dropped.
poster framed. I want that thing framed. You kidding me? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Same.
Okay, favorite Star Wars book. There's a lot of them.
I
Yeah.
absolutely love Delilah Dawson and everything she writes, and I'm actually going to go with Phasma.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's so different from any other Star Wars book or show or anything. Like it's just got such a cool story, and yeah, I wished that we had gotten more from Phasma's character in the movies, but
Agreed.
the,
I think we all agree.
the book was just so good. That
It's
and
funny.
also Black Spire, which is another Delilah
Black
Dawson
Spire's
book.
great.
You
Black
literally
Spire's great.
I literally have an hour. That's what I'm listening to right
So
now. I have an
good.
hour left of it, and I haven't stopped.
Oh,
So-
I want Pook, her
Yes!
droid. I need
Yes.
a Pook series just like on its own.
He's too funny. Well, and we have Strikes Back coming out too.
Mhm.
Which,
Yes.
oh man,
Yep.
Some of the I watched your guys' video about taking the bets on who you think will show up, and you guys pulled some names that did. I'm like, oh, General Veers, maybe Lobot, and then you guys pull people. I'm like, who?
Yeah, give me a story from that bounty hunter on Ord Mantell.
Yeah. Let's see. Favorite character.
Leia. I gotta go with Leia.
Good choice.
Yeah.
It's a good choice.
Good
You can never
choice.
go wrong with Leia.
Now, favorite Star Wars species. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there is a lot of them, and I've been trying to memorize all of their names.
Ton apparently is one, or is that a planet?
Ton.
Oh,
Oh,
Ton.
the Ton system, which is that's where Ben Quadinaros is from.
Yes,
Oh.
apparently. Apparently that's where he's from.
Yeah, I like the Kaminoans.
Oh, okay.
We don't see much of them, but I think their
Mhm.
species is pretty cool.
They're really cool looking.
Mhm.
Favorite Star Wars planet.
I'll go Scarif just because it's got beaches, and like if I had to, people
Fair.
always ask us like if you had to live on a Star Wars planet, and be like, oh, Scarif for sure, before
That's
it got
fair.
blown up.
Yeah. Favorite faction. So like the Sith, the Mandalorians, the Jedi, any type of group.
I'll go bounty hunters.
I like it. I
Yeah.
like it. I like it.
Nice. Favorite Star Wars era.
Again, the more we watch all the films, like I'm always kind of changing my mind. I'll say the original trilogy. I would say it's funny because like my favorite movie is from the sequel trilogy, but I still think I like the original trilogy the best for the era.
I think that's for a lot of people. Most I'll say most people, not a lot of people, but most people.
Yeah.
All right, final one. Favorite lightsaber color.
Lightsaber color. I like purple just because Mara Jade had a purple lightsaber and she was really cool. And I've cosplayed as her before and it was really fun.
That's fair. Purple's a good one. We don't see it very much, and we need to see more of that color on screen for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for all the High Republic stuff because I know they're bringing all the colors in.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I bet you know already. Are we should be as excited as I think we should be from what you know? Yeah.
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 I'm still bummed that stuff got pushed, but it's
devastated.
We're gonna be busy. I'll say
It'll be
that.
worth the wait.
Yeah, you are.
Cool. Well, Mollie, we can't thank you enough for joining us on the show today. It was an absolute treat to have you and talk Schmoedown, Star Wars, etc. And we're really looking forward to seeing you play Dimlanta and beyond.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. This was fun.
Thank
Of course.
you.
Good luck, and hopefully we'll be able to get you on the show in the future too.
Totally. Yeah.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, there it is. Mollie Damon, the latest round 1 winner for the Star Wars tournament. Absolute great conversation. That was so much fun. I'm so happy we were able to get her on the show for a little bit here.
Yeah, I love her. Oh my goodness. Can't wait to see what she does. Let's see her go toe to toe.
Dominate. Let's see her all of us are on the same page. We want to see her dominate. We're all on the same page.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think we've all been saying we can't wait for and hope for a Laura versus her match. Oh
yes.
My God.
And imagine those promos. Oh
my God.
So
man.
So
those would be great promos. I'm excited to see what Mollie versus Dimlanta looks like as far as promos, but
yeah,
a Mollie versus Laura is just wow.
Two females in a heated promo, probably both being bad guys. Oh my God. Like, I can't even imagine.
Beautiful.
It's going to be crazy. All right, guys. Well, we have quite a bit to talk about here because a lot happened this past week in the Schmoedown. It was absolutely wild. I have, count them, 5 matches to recap and 3 to preview. So we have 8 matches to discuss right now.
Holy
and we're going to do it in order that it was released to the public. And so the first one that we're going to be discussing here is Warfather versus Greg Alba. And we've all talked privately through our group chat, but not to the extent of here on the show. Absolute shocker here. Greg Alba walks away with the KO, not the TKO, but the KO, putting the Mercs back in the conversation with the standings. And really just a great showing by Alba, but quite honestly, a very poor showing by Warfather as well. Jill, we'll start with you because Brian and I will get on the mics for this, but what did you think of this one?
I was stunned, to be honest, because I was thinking it was going to go all the way to round 3, and it was probably going to be a close one, and I was but like I said, I think I said that it all would come down to the questions on this, because what Alba knows, he knows. And we didn't know what Warfather knew. He was kind of this whole mystery. We've only really seen him in singles, but to take it in a KO, I was completely taken off guard by that one. Not to diminish anyone's knowledge, but just having a BK. I don't think anyone expected that outcome.
No, not at this point. I mean, and everything seemed to be going in Greg Alba's favor. Even Warfather's spin happened to be what Greg Alba was deciding between DCU and MCU. So everything just was falling to him. Brian, final thoughts on this one before we get to our next one?
Yeah, I toted him as the second barbarian, and I couldn't have been more wrong in that aspect. And Greg Alba showed up even with Coy kind of having his internet issues where he's out and in. But Alba was able to do everything on his own and beat the poop out of him and to my shock, at least, I thought with Jill, it would have gone to the end, but boy, did it not. So,
and it was big because he faces Kalinowski next, and more than likely we know Kalinowski is going to be the favorite here, and so getting points for the Mercs right now is the biggest key, and he got them. But if things go in Greg Alba's favor, it could be a very interesting match.
I mean, if you're
an upset,
yeah, if anyone's putting up any type of KO or TKO, that puts you on notice.
Very true.
So,
Very true. Especially in an IG tournament, right? You're grabbing the best of the best. And I know that some of these people haven't played in the IG before, but they've shown their IG knowledge in something like a singles or teams. So you're grabbing the best possible players for something like this. So even though we're surprised by the KO, we shouldn't be surprised if there is an upset of someone like a Kalinowski, because Greg Alba right now has shown that he can play this league.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I can't wait for the promos for the
oh my God, those two versus each other. Oh, it's
the grumpiness of Shannon and Mike.
So Shannon has the best promos, though.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
She's great. But I will say, before Mollie and Adam's promo came out last week, I liked Greg's the most because that moment where he was just sleeping. Like he was just sleeping in the chair.
Oh my God.
It was so good. It was so perfectly timed, too.
Rewind it again because I needed to see it again. I died.
So good.
I thought that was so great.
Yeah.
So
people have been sleeping on Alba.
Yeah, so amazing. So amazing.
So funny.
All right, so moving on from the IG tournament, let's go ahead and get to these Star Wars matches. Now, we talked a lot with Mollie about her match with Adam, so let's get to the one that happened right before. The absolute juggernaut of a match was Andrew DiMolanta versus Joseph Scrimshaw. Finstock Exchange versus the Mercs. Obviously, Finstock Exchange being in the lead, they don't need any more points at this point, but they walked away with the victory here in just a haymaker for haymaker of a fight. Nobody missed a question until that OT match. And honestly, it didn't look like any of the questions even phased them. They were just answering right off the bat the entire time. And they both look like guys who could take on an Alex Damon. Only one was going to walk away with it. Ended up being DiMolanta. Again, Jill, your thoughts here on this incredible match.
This match it's going to be contender for match of the year, hands down.
And you called it too. You called it last week too.
I called it. It was going to go to OT. I honestly thought it was going to go a little bit longer.
Same.
But the challenge was a fair challenge, and he was completely warranted in doing the challenge. But there was something I found really interesting is he had said that he was planning on challenging, I believe it was a round 2 question where they're asking what the call sign is for the one who misses the Jetstar shot. And he was going to challenge it because I think he thought they said the name when they did ask for the call sign.
Interesting.
So because I think he was going to challenge for that, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong here, but I was going to say, had he used his challenge on that,
he wouldn't have had it.
He would have lost his challenge.
Yeah.
So and like I've said before, the Star Wars tournament's going to come down to who knows how to play the game.
Yeah.
And he knew how to play the game. He said, this match is going to go to overtime. I need to use my challenge for when it gets there. And he won because of it. So he knows how to play the game. He knows how to study. He knows Star Wars questions. And I don't understand how this was a round 1 match. Don't understand how this was.
Yeah, same. I agree. I definitely agree. They should have been split up on opposite sides for sure.
It was insane. This was a final. And it's crazy that now Scrimshaw's not in it.
You probably the better way to done it if you would have ever done it not on round 1 is probably flipping Knapsack and Scrimshaw and putting them on opposite sides. Because I know Knapsack is great, but I'm taking Scrimshaw over Knapsack probably every time.
So having Knapsack and Scrimshaw go against each other?
Well, no. So if you had the same bracket and you put Knapsack in Scrimshaw's place to play DiMolanta, and then
DiMolanta.
Yeah.
That also could have been a final match too, though.
It's very difficult. It's very, very difficult for sure.
They all could be final matches.
They all could be final matches.
That's
the thing. These people are crazy.
Yeah.
These people are crazy. But it was insane. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Brian.
funny. I was just gonna say, I mean, we've said it all. The more I've sat on it, the more I've been like, there was no way that this was going to probably get out without some type of challenge because they knew every answer. They matched each other perfectly, and it probably was always going to be some minute thing that was challenged, and that's exactly how it ended because they were literally throwing punch for punch the whole entire time.
And I think I said this too when we talked about it, but I want to know if. and Scrimshaw, he knew what he was doing, obviously, and it didn't come to a point for him in the match where he really needed to know the game because he was just answering questions, right? He was just answering questions. But I had said it to Brian that at one point earlier in the match, there was a question about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he had just put Ben, and Scrimshaw put Ben Kenobi. I wonder if the detail is something that he didn't realize when answering the questions, and that ended up just biting him, in the ass at the end of it.
Sean and I talked about that too, because Sean was like, could you technically challenge that? Because there's like 3 Bens.
There is, yeah.
Star Wars.
That's funny because someone said that in the Facebook group. They're like, everyone knows who it is. There's only one Ben, and then people were like, no, there's this one, this one.
There's 3 Bens. Yeah. And so Sean was like, I wonder if you could have challenged that and if it would have upheld it. But the line is, he's just saying Ben.
Yeah.
So you could also argue in that way where that's literally what he says. He says Ben. So I don't know if that challenge would have upheld, but it's interesting that if you honestly could have challenged it, because there is Ben Solo, Ben Kenobi. There's a lot of Bens in Star Wars. And
that moment, or the OT challenge, helped in the next match because that Sam Levine ended up talking about that, how detailed it was. And that led to the challenge winning for the first round for him. It's interesting how it all comes around. But it's funny that we expected this match to be what it was, but the following match was the match that everybody was talking about, which is Mollie versus Adam Witt, right?
Oh my gosh!
And not just because of all the challenges, but it was just a really good back and forth match. You were kind of didn't know what to expect until it came down to the last round. Every question was asked, like they asked all the round 3 questions and everything in between. But Joe, we talked about the Mollie just quickly, but I mean, your thoughts on this match after watching it and getting experience, not just her time back in Star Wars, but also Adam's after playing Sean a few months ago.
I didn't realize I was going to be so stressed about this match that I ended up being like, because I was like, this is going to be such a fun match. It's going to be just it's going to be a hoot. It's going to be amazing. And then I was like, like, I was so stressed out about it because there was challenge and then challenge and then challenge. And then like, I feel like sometimes they were challenging just to challenge. And then I was like, what happened to my fun-go-lucky match? What happened?
So true.
And I was like, and that's the case. Like now, yes, everyone's talking about Dimmalante Scrimshaw because it was essentially a perfect game. Even though Scrimshaw did lose to that challenge, he knew the answer.
Yeah.
But so it was essentially a perfect game. But now everyone's talking about, because it's gonna change how everyone really thinks about studying with Star Wars now. You can't be broad. You can't just say, "Oh, it was the shield." It's the shield generator. You have to be shield. And then even with what Mollie had said is that in previous matches they had accepted shield.
Yep.
The Star Wars division then is not the Star Wars division now.
Yep.
So it's become where you need to answer it 100% to the T, or else sorry.
And that's going to be very interesting going forward, and how that affects some answers, wrong answers, correct answers, the way that writers look at questions, the way the judges look at questions. Exactly. It could end up being something that massively changes everything, whether we see it from the editing standpoint. But it's definitely going to be a lot of fun to see in the future here. But yeah, so Mollie ends up taking the victory there, getting Suspects some points. And then we get to the next IG match, which debuted the day after, Adam Lavick versus Barbarian. And really, I mean, we were watching that match, and I was trying to will Adam Lavick to win so bad. I want to see this guy win so bad in this league because I like him as a player. I like Winston as a manager, and they've kind of had a little bit of struggles as of late. But the Barbarian, man, Craig is just scary.
Rookie of the year contender.
Yeah, it really is. After that showing just now, and he went through a little bit there, right? He was kind of struggling a little bit, thinking about some stuff, but he ended up pulling through and just showing once again why he's not just a contender for Rookie of the Year, but really just a threat overall to everybody.
He's a threat in the whole entire IG tournament. If you're not worried about him, you're going to be sorely mistaken, because he'll knock you out. Like no one's business. He will knock you out because his knowledge is everywhere. everywhere, and those are the scariest type of people.
And you can tell too that he's not only studying the movies, he's studying the other competitors.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He knows their strengths, he knows their weaknesses, which a player like that is really someone you want to keep your eye on.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, and it's kind of a bummer that he ended up on the Finstock Exchange, but it is what it is.
Well,
how dare you get more points? How dare?
It's funny because I think it was on Hannah's stream. Kaiser and him were going back, and Finstock and Kaiser were talking. They're like, who looks more stupid? The other managers of not knowing what he could do, or because he was drafted like 6th round, 7th round.
Yeah, I think
six. I think it was. I think they
draft.
picked him after Demolanta, which Demolanta was the 5th.
Yes.
So I mean, that's scary. Just because it's the Tom Brady thing. Just because they're not in the first round doesn't mean that they will not come out there and take every championship they can get their hands on. And he's one of those people. So
scary.
Yeah.
He could be a first four league threat, which is something that
really
is absolutely just wild. If we see him compete in Star Wars one day and he shows up, like he may lose, but he shows up, everyone will be put on notice for the rest of the time.
Just even putting your toe in the Star Wars League takes so much guts to do, in my opinion, because it's just stacked against you with these competitors. So even if he just put himself up for Star Wars League, you are.
Yeah, it's fair.
And the Finstock Exchange would be really dumb if they got rid of him too. So, and they have a lot of decisions to make next year. I'll say that they have a lot of decisions to make next year with all the players that they have, and if there is that 3-player rule that does go into effect,
if they
have a lot. Just think about it. They have Ben Bateman, John Roca, Dan Murrell, and the Barbarian to choose from. Just 3 of them.
And
Could you imagine letting go one of them? And Demolanta. Yeah, but imagine letting go of just those first 4. Imagine letting go of one of them.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That could be scary. And if Demolanta ends up winning the belt, then you have a decision between letting go of the team champions, the singles champion, and the Star Wars champion. Are you serious? Oh my God.
I do not want to be in Dagnino's shoes.
Oh my God! I love that he capped it at 3. I guarantee you that's the exact reason why he capped it at 3.
Oh, I hope so.
Can't wait for those promos and that drama.
Okay, so after the Adam Lavick Barbarian match, we had the final match last week, which was obviously one of the most talked about because it's a gentleman who has been lighting fires everywhere. That is Mr. Brandon Hanna for the Burning Droogs playing against Saul for the Den. A match that, look, I'll be honest here, I expected Brandon Hanna to win, obviously, because he's a veteran in the IG tournament. He seems to be a little bit more serious about IG now that he got traded and everyone betrayed him and all that stuff. But I'll be honest, Saul looked like a guy that can compete in this league. He looked like a guy that really could compete against some players in this league and make a name for himself.
That's for sure. He definitely proved himself that he belongs in this league. And I said so. And everyone was like, who's Saul? And I'm like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff. And you can tell that defeat really, really got to him.
Oh, I've never seen someone act like that after a match in a very long time. It really affected him for sure.
It really got to him, which I really hope that doesn't dissuade him, because had he gone against another competitor, he easily could have won.
Yeah.
So I really hope he comes back, because he really proved himself that he can be an IG player. But I think he got drafted as a singles player, which I'm excited to see what he does in singles. But I really want him to come back, and I don't want to talk about Brandon Hanna. He can.
What is
I will say one thing about Saul, Brian, real quick. His handwriting is immaculate. Oh my goodness,
it's gorgeous.
It is insane. It's better than Adam Lavick's. It is absolutely insane. Oh my goodness. Go ahead.
Saul showed up way more than I expected him to, and like you said, Joe, if he played just your average person, he would have knocked them out. I
think I would have liked to have seen him flip him and Goddard the play-in match and put Goddard in the singles match. I understand why they did it, but I think I would have liked to have seen the other way around, because Goddard is a little bit more well-known and it was Saul's debut. But Goddard would have taken down Brandon Hanner. He would have taken down Hannah. That would have been fun to see.
Yeah, that would have been that would have been. Oh, I can only imagine the heated promos and crap talk being thrown back and forth.
Brandon and Goddard, yeah.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Anybody
that's on the den against Brandon Hanna is obviously going to get that treatment. So,
well, that's his own fault.
Very true. Very true.
But Saul did great. So I mean, I
love Saul.
If people weren't like looking out for him, that's someone that could sneak up and beat you, and you didn't even see it coming.
And he seems really committed too.
That, and he, the one thing that I know Hannah made kind of joked today on Twitter about the
tritium.
Whatever the element was, he still pulled an element just from a different movie, and I'm sitting there like nitrogen, carbon.
I know. I'm like an arc reactor, and Sean's like, "Are you kidding me?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Yeah, I'm just sitting there like, I couldn't even pull this if my life depended on it, and yet he still gave an answer that you're like, "Oh,
it's an IG answer."
Yeah.
So it's showing that he knows his stuff. It was just the wrong movie, but
exactly.
Congratulations, Brandon! You won the match.
Hey, but here's the thing. If Alex Damon wins, he faces Alex Damon, so his road could be ending very soon.
Who is Alex playing? It's
Jen
Alex
Kemp, and that's for patrons tomorrow.
And I've heard a lot about Jen.
I've heard she's someone to actually look out for. Yeah,
people are talking about Jen.
I know Christian has wanted her to get her in the league for a while now, so now we get to finally see her debut, which will be very fun to see against Alex Damon.
And a lady in IG.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Brian, let's shoot it to you, man. Let's go ahead and run down these standings before we get to the matches that are upcoming this week.
Yeah, the standings are a changing, that's for sure. First place is Finstock Exchange. They now have 22 points. Second place is still the Den. They have 15 points. Swag is still sitting in third place with 13. The Burning Droogs are in fourth place with 9. The Usual Suspects have climbed up to 5th place with 7 points. The Corky Mercs are in 6th place with 6 points. The Rock Stars are in 7th place with 6 points. Corruption is in 8th place with 5 points. And the Dungeon is sitting in 9th place with 4 points.
It's definitely shaken up. And like we were promised, these tournaments are doing damage to these standings, and it's really fun to see. I mean, the Usual Suspects went from last to 5th within a match just thanks to Mollie. They have a match this week as well, with Jen Camp up against Alex Damon. But obviously, the Rockstars need something going for themselves, and so I'm sure Alex will be doing everything in his power to take that match. I will say this, man. We know that Parker is on the horizon for the Dungeon, but the Dungeon is really struggling right now. Parker needs to do everything he possibly can to get that back into the fold, because if he doesn't, they're pretty much out of it until Smets plays.
And they have Zipper.
Excuse me, they do have Zipper. You are correct. But here's the thing with that. Aren't they on the same side of the bracket?
No.
I think Zipper, are they not?
No,
okay. If they're on the opposite side of the bracket, that's cool. I haven't seen Zipper as an IG player, so I can't say much to him. But I know that a lot of it is going to be riding on Parker. But if they go against each other in the finals, I mean, that's awesome. That's great. That'd be perfect. But the Dungeon right now is a little bit of trouble. They're in a little bit of trouble.
Zipper is on the right side, and he's going against Emily Rose Jacobson.
Maybe he was originally on the left side before they switched things around.
Well, he was a part of that switch where he was originally going against Janine, but then Janine and Emily switched, and so
Okay, cool.
I love
Zipper.
He's one of my favorites.
Adam Witt losing was definitely a little bit of damage to them, because that could have helped them big time. But Parker and Zipper are going to have to pick up some slack for them. Otherwise, they're going to be in some big trouble going forward.
Yeah, because, I mean, Zipper gets out past if he gets out past Emily Rose Jacobson, his next is either Kalinowski or Greg Alba. So it's like, and then Goddard's no schlep to sleep on when
that's going to be
you're
a
playing
fun
Parker.
Goddard versus Parker. That could end up being a really fun match.
A lot of this. I can't wait. I hope.
A lot of that.
Goddard likes talking. We know they likes talking. So,
yeah, just a little bit.
and having Kid as his manager definitely helps that case.
Of course.
All right, so let's go ahead and get to the matches that are coming this week. We only have 3 to talk about. They're slimming down this week after the doubleheader last week and everything that went down. But the first one we mentioned before, Damon versus Kemp here. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we all chose Alex Damon. I think that, especially after talking to Mollie, it seems like he's just a guy that's really locked into it and wants to dominate in both leagues. We've never seen a Star Wars champion and an Inner Geekdom champion at the same time, which would be really cool to see. So I have no doubt that he'll probably end up taking this victory and facing Brendan Hanna in the next round.
Yeah, and especially with his showing in the Patreon match for Lord of the Rings, the fact that he knows that much Rings plus Star Wars. And he did really well with his live event match against Emily Rose Jacobson too. So, but I don't know Jen.
Yeah.
For all I know, Jen could be a Kevin Smets, another champion.
That's what I was gonna say.
I don't know. So I don't want to put my money on Damon, even though if I was in Vegas, I would probably put my money on Damon. But she can be a Kevin Smets, and we just don't know it. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited.
I 100% echo your thoughts because I know nothing of her. If Sam's drafting her, that makes me like, oh, okay.
And they have this momentum right now. The suspects really kind of have this momentum that's really helping them.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, Damon, the Rockstars need him to win. If Damon loses, the Rockstars are now out of tournament play entirely.
Is he their only IG player?
They had a play in Jim Vejvoda had the play in, and then Josh Cavedo on the opposite side for Star Wars had the play in as well, and they both lost.
So if Damon's out,
you need it.
The Rockstars are done until something else comes up. So
I'll take back my dungeon comments. It's the Rockstars that could be in trouble. It's really the Rockstars that could really be in trouble. They're riding on one guy right now. They're riding on one guy.
They are.
So that's scary. That's really. But if you're gonna ride on one guy,
it's gonna be
Alex Damon's the guy you ride on. Like he's the guy you go with. So
is there someone? There's not a lot of other people that you're like
Alex Damon, Kevin Smets, Dan Murrell. Like those are like the
Roka.
Yes.
There's like a small handful where it's like I ride or die.
100%.
Alex is definitely one of those, and he's like I said, he's proven himself in IG and with Lord of the Rings and his original live event match. So
and he said in that live event match because Emily Rose Jacobson had got them in the third round that some of his big strengths are Indiana Jones and Back to the Future as well. He could dominate in 4 different categories in IG like that. That could be very lethal. That could be very, very lethal.
He could be double belted.
That
in
those divisions,
hardest divisions.
Yeah,
arguably 2 of the most insane divisions. He could be double belted.
Yeah,
if he beats Jen again, she could be a Kevin Smets. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm really excited to see what she brings to the table.
Yeah. Okay, next one. We shift back to Star Wars here quickly. This is the live match on Wednesday afternoon. Getting back to our regular time, the Burning Droogs are putting up Knapsack against Winston's Ace Cabrera. We're seeing him back after the play-in match. The interesting part here is that more than likely we will see the new manager for the Burning Droogs in this match. Whether they make the announcement before or during, I'm not sure, but I'm guessing that we will hear of a manager for the Burning Droogs before this match even airs. But I will take. Oh man, this is hard. This is really hard because I like Ace a lot. I like Ace a lot, and it's that Master Padawan thing because they've been together for so long. But I do think that Knapsack. I think Knapsack is just going to pull something out of his hat, and he probably will walk away with the victory on this one.
I don't even know. I like this match is so difficult for me to pick a winner for because
me too.
Because like for the Scrimshaw Dimolanta one, everyone was going with Scrimshaw. And I was going, you don't know Dimolanta, you don't know what he's doing. And for this, I feel like everyone's going for Knapsack, but it's like he hasn't competed in how long?
And he doesn't even watch. Like he doesn't do anything with it. Yeah.
So that scares me for him. But he's also like a Scrimshaw and a Damon, where he's just this walking Star Wars encyclopedia, and he just holds all of this knowledge. But he hasn't competed since the Star Wars division has really changed to where you need to know it needs to be this. We're not taking just a shield anymore. It needs to be deflector shield. It needs to be shield generator. So I don't know if that's going to hurt him. And then Cabrera Ace really surprised me his first match. He really surprised me. He knows his stuff because he does these shows with Knapsack.
Yeah.
So I honestly
if there's anything that Star Wars has shown us, it's that every Padawan eventually takes down their master.
Yes. I'm gonna be the one who I'm gonna go Cabrera.
Nice.
I think I'm gonna go Cabrera
nice.
just because I think Knapsack being away for so long is maybe gonna hurt him.
Probably, yeah. It's a very good reason. It's a very good reason to pick Cabrera.
So it's really this is probably one of the harder ones to pick for me. But I think I'm gonna go with Ace.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of unsure. I don't know who I really want, but I just see it being like a 1 point thing, like a very close, maybe 2 points, where it's something minimal that you tripped up on and it cost you in the end. I don't know, because you echoed the same things. As for me, Ace surprised me in a very good way, so I won't be surprised if he wins this. But if I had to probably roll the dice, I'd probably maybe go with Ken right now. But I think that's just me wanting to see Ken play against Laura Kelly.
Yeah, I do want to see Ken and Laura too. And it's like, and with this one, it's like people were like the Demolance and Scrimshaw. People were like, "Oh, I would bet Scrimshaw," and I'm going, "You're wrong." This one, people are like, "I bet Knapsack," and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, you have no answer. Yeah.
If Ace wins, I'm not going to be surprised.
No,
I won't
be surprised. Will it go to overtime? I don't think so.
I really think that it could.
5, yes.
I think it could end up. For me, Ace, it's all going to be based on the wheel for him. It really is going to be based on the wheel for him. I feel like Knapsack's knowledge about a lot of stuff his knowledge is a wide range of stuff. We saw Ace do really well in prequels and even a little bit of the original trilogy, but how much do we really know about him with the sequels or maybe one movie in the original trilogy? And so if that wheel screws him and it's something that maybe he's not confident in, that could be the Achilles heel there.
I think you could say the same for Knapsack with the sequels, though.
The sequel trilogy.
Yeah, but he loves The Last Jedi, and he watches The Force Awakens. I don't know about The Rise of Skywalker, but I've heard him talk about The Last Jedi like it's one of his favorite movies.
Well, maybe Solo or Rogue One, you land on something like that where it's like
true. Or like a vehicle or a creature or something like that. Like that could be a category. Yeah, a mixed bag for sure. Yeah, that'd be crazy. I would love to see Knapsack pick mixed bag. That'd be amazing. Oh, that would be absolutely amazing. Okay, so getting back from Star Wars to IG, it's the final match of the week and a very interesting one. 2 brand new players in IG, but 2 exciting players. We have Greg Alba's partner from the Real Rejects, John Humphrey for Coy and the Mercs, going up against Janine the Machine for Sam Levine. Very, very cool here. We obviously know what Janine can do in movie trivia in general. I'm super excited to see her in IG because she cosplays as a lot of IG characters a lot of the time. So it seems like a realm that she'll be comfortable in.
Just like right there. Like
Exactly. So it definitely seems like something that she'll be comfortable in. It's hard because I don't know at this point, but I do feel like because we've been talking about Janine for so long, right? Everybody's had conversations about her and that, like, when is her time? I feel like getting a breath of fresh air from singles and trying something new might be that time for her. And so I'll take Janine in this match.
I echo you.
And I agree with that mentality with it too, is that maybe getting in this new division, this new league we could really see her shine in it. And I'm really hoping so, because she needs her time. She's an amazing player. She puts in the work ethic, she puts in the studying, and I'm really excited to see what she brings to IG.
Yeah.
Agreed.
She's one of those players that it's a matter of when, not if they start winning. So I think I'm if she comes out and dominates, I'm not going to be surprised in the slightest.
It also helps to see what Sam did with Mollie, to have him on her side, but it also helps to have someone like an Andrew Guy and now an Ethan Irwin on her side as well in her corner. Kind of a fresh take with, you know, everything that had happened beforehand with her live match in studio, and now taking a few months off and now doing it virtual. She could become a whole different player after this, you know, global pandemic, if you will.
And she also has a pseudo Rachel Cushing in her corner too.
That is correct, for IG too, which is huge. Good call.
She has
for IG. I want Rachel Cushing.
That is very true. She
has a strong base of people to help her. Probably, I mean,
let's call it what it is. Right now, it's the strongest. It really is the strongest. You can't argue with Rachel Cushing. You can't.
You can't argue with Rachel.
I mean, if you want IG, that's probably the mentor you want. There's no one on Finstock that I would want to mentor.
The dungeon is the only other faction with Smets. It's the only other faction. And I know Kalinowski's with Corruption, but Kalinowski seems to go back and forth between singles and IG and teams, and
he
focuses a lot of other places.
She is just the goddess of IG.
Just of Schmoedown.
Yeah,
very true.
Absolutely.
Mount Rushmore.
True.
Yeah. Hands down in Mount Rushmore. If that's your Mount Rushmore options, your Mount Rushmore beat them up.
All right. Well, I think that does it for us this week, guys. We tackled a lot of stuff. We previewed a lot. We reviewed a lot. We had a great guest in Mollie Damon join us and got some really good inside scoop from her. Really, really good conversation, and glad we were able to have her on. And so before we get out of here, we'll plug a little bit for this week. We're going to be doing a lot of trailer reactions going forward for the IG stuff. We'll be doing our breakdowns. And for our Star Wars live breakdown this week, you'll probably see a time shift because Jill will be joining us on these breakdowns. We're going to be getting her on these live breakdowns on Twitter and YouTube. So you will see her on these week to week. So make sure you guys follow us on Twitter for all the updates, for time changes and when they'll be posted and stuff like that, as well as for the IG breakdowns and all the reactions. For this show, it lives on Mondays. You guys can find it on audio early at 7 a.m. and then it premieres on YouTube at 9 a.m. So if you guys want to go ahead and subscribe and everything over on audio, that'd be awesome. Give us some love over there. But if not, check us out on YouTube. Totally understand if you're much more of a visual person. And so before we get out of here, Jill, where can everybody find you online?
I'm on Instagram and Twitter, Jilly Marie, 2 Y's, 2 E's. I'm talking smack and taking names.
Yes,
that
she is.
That you are. Brian?
See her in that Facebook group.
Twitter too, man.
Twitter too.
Sorry.
No,
it's fun. It's fun. Yeah.
No, I'm sitting here like eating the popcorn.
I need to calm down. I know. I need to calm down.
No. We sip that tea in the corner and just watch.
It's okay.
You could find me B Volosino on Instagram and Twitter.
And you can find me Twitter, Instagram at Qui-Gon Jake. 2 N's for Gone there. And a certain point of view, Schmoedown POV, audio, YouTube every Monday throughout the week for a bunch of other episodes. But for now, this is this week's episode. We thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you guys are commenting down below on thoughts, not just our conversation with Mollie, but everything else we talked about as well, on who you think may win this week. And for now, we'll see you guys next week.